If you've been placing all of your sales under your two-way Ukon DD and nowhere else, then that means that you have a lopsided business because you only have one lane, one leg. One of the biggest misconceptions from my perspective around heavily focusing on achieving 6A, because each individual person you brought into the business is now starting at zero, whatever, to get to 6A. The next thought is, who's going to get me to 6A2? So the advantage of having the Ukon DD as a position you own, second level, is that now all of those directs underneath, they're all contributing to 6A. You need to do that again on another position. Now you have the 2A and the 5A simultaneously growing. So your goal now needs to try to outperform on your 5A to catch up to this account before or close to when this one hits 6A. Kaya, what's going on? All right, let's dive into your question. Oh, you're hitting me with the Ukon question. You're hitting me with the comp plan question. Okay, let's get into it. I'd love to touch on strategy today. I affiliated with the Quad and I'm currently building under my Ukon DD account, which has recently hit 5.8. Let's go. Congratulations. That's so good. You're on 63 points. My main ID is at 2A, obviously 65 points. I know there are people building wide and others building deep. Besides wanting to understand the exact differences, it's still confusing me a little bit. I would love to hear your advice. I know I could continue building under my Ukon DD, even by opening a Sigma MGuard or even have my husband affiliate, which he cannot wait to do, and kind of forgetting about my main ID. Or I could open a Sigma under my main ID and start placing sales under there, which means relying on my current affiliates to reach 6A on my Ukon DD. Of course, the goal is to reach 6A2 as soon as possible, but also have the possibility to qualify for the rank up bonuses. Thank you for sharing your point of view on this. Fantastic question, Kaya. And what I want to teach everybody in the mentorship is not the answer, right or wrong, correct. It's not about that. It's more about understanding how to think about the question itself. So my response to questions like this around strategy, where to do what, is always it depends, because there isn't technically a right answer. There is a variety of variables that make your situation unique. So you have to understand how to solve your own problem based on where your business is at. So with that being said, if you've been placing all of your sales under your two-way Ukon DD and nowhere else, then that means that you have a lopsided business because you only have one lane, one leg, right? So when we look at 6A2, it is one of the biggest misconceptions from my perspective around heavily focusing on achieving 6A, because each individual person you brought into the business is now starting at one or zero, whatever, to get to 6A. And all of those sales accumulate to your 101, right? To qualify you to 6A. But the second you hit 6A, the next thought is, who's going to get me to 6A2? Right? And then you're going to look at all your sales and be like, this person's at 11 points. They're 89 away. Ugh. This person's at 20 points. Ugh, they're 80 away. So now it feels like you're a bajillion years away from anyone else hitting 6A, even though you hit 6A and you're excited. So now you're quote unquote screwed until all these people duplicate and you never know how fast you're going to build. Make sense? So the advantage of having the Ukon DD as a position you own, second level, is that now all of those directs underneath, they're all contributing to 6A on the second level. You need to do that again on another position. So you technically could put in a 5A, right? Direct sale on your main ID. That would now get you a second level like your DD,
Yeah.
and hit it super hard with a lot of direct sales under there.
Okay.
Now you have the 2A and the 5A simultaneously growing, and you're trying to catch the 5A account up to the 2A account, which has a massive head start. It's already at 63. So your goal now needs to try to outperform on your 5A to catch up to this account before or close to when this one hits 6A. Okay. Now, you can also change where you place sales at any point. So there's no like commitment that you have to build the 5A from now on. You can let your affiliates under the 2A DD kind of see what they're doing. And if it starts to slow down or there's not enough volume or production, you can just go back to the 2A. Underneath that, start sponsoring 5A sales, right? 5A and then get 5 plus 2. Now you're getting
Mm-hmm.
7 points, which is great.
Yes.
And alternate one under the
Yeah.
DD, one under the 5A, one under the DD, one under the 5A. So my initial understanding of this that helped me a lot is you got to keep your finger on the pulse of your business. Nothing is
Mm-hmm.
permanent and no strategy is indefinite. It's
Yeah.
always something you have to be careful to watch what is going on. And like I've shared this before in the past, but I'll share this specific part of my story again. My account, so I had my top account. I put my wife in the 3A lane with an Ukon. I put a guy underneath her that used to be my friend and personal trainer in her 1A lane. He went on to build a massive business that helped my wife on one side. Then I placed another Anespa in my 4A lane. So those are my second levels, like your DD and your 5A would be my
Mm-hmm.
3A and my 4A. And I put all of my sales under this Anespa account in my 4A, all of my directs, because this person I put under my wife was like just growing pretty fast. So I kept sponsoring. Eventually, my 4A Anespa went 688. So I had eight
Mm-hmm.
6As, all separate lines. That account just went 688-4 last month in August. And then what ended up happening is the very last 6A out of those eight was like dormant. There was no action, no sales, no nothing. And all of a sudden, all the online stuff that has happened in the last 9 years happened under one of those 6As, and they just blew up huge and made all of my sales on my other side look like we weren't even putting in any sales, like just completely smoked everything. So then I had to go back under my wife's account, get another ID under her to balance out her position because she was lopsided. She only had the one side. And I built that out, and that ended up bringing in all of Australia with the
Mm-hmm.
Freedom Era and things like this over there, which is now also a 682-4. My wife is 682-5. My top account is 682-6. And then my other one is a 688-4. So it was the reason I'm bringing this up to you is there was a period in time where I thought I had the plan figured out. I'm like, oh, just put all my sales over here is easy. But because the leadership and the momentum and what's possible when the right people come in, all of a sudden it could reverse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you always have to be aware of your volume and how the percentages split up. So at one point, I was 90% one side and 10% on the other side. It was very, very not good. And now my business is about 65-35, much better. But it's because I put all of my energy on the slower leg, slower lane. So in your case right now, I would, to answer your question, I just wanted to kind of teach you how to think about
Mm-hmm.
this. Put your husband or yourself in the 5A lane on your main ID. Put all of your directs there. Aim for at least 10 to 20 directs in as short amount of time as you can. Typically, 2 out of 10 become producers, statistically speaking. So they will all tell you they're the greatest producer of all time, and they're going to go to like 6A2-3 in a week. Only two of them actually do anything. Maybe four of them do something, but two of them actually go on to hit 6A out of 10. So then, in my opinion, you should aim for 20 directs under each new account you open so that four of them will go on to hit 6A. So you have that leverage. And then if any of the other 16 end up producing or whatever, or you have some kind of special, unusual success rate, which is fine. But conservatively speaking, 2 out of 10. So 80% of your volume will come from 20% of your sales. That's just statistically how it goes for everybody, which is really nice because if you think every single person you sponsor is going to be the greatest of all time, then it's pretty disappointing when barely anyone does anything. Right? So to actually be like more aware of the numbers is like, okay, I'm going to put in 10 and I'm going to wait to see which of the two are the superstars out of the 10. That's how I.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you have the right idea. I would even go as far as going you again, and then your husband,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and then putting the sales under him.
Okay.
Because then
Sounds
you also
good.
have another opportunity for you to build the third one. I think like the sweet spot for number of accounts that you grow to legacy is 5. I think that's the sweet spot. Some people have 7, 10, 12, 15 accounts, and it's just kind of ridiculous because you're going to have to maintain them all with volume. And unless you're
Yeah.
going to produce like 100 direct sales a month every single month, pretty much automatically, you just won't be able to max out the bonuses. So it ends up kind of being a counterproductive thing. I
Okay.
think five. Five is the max that I recommend. 5 legacy accounts.
Okay. Super.
So
Thank you so much.
your main account, second level, and then one more underneath that. And then you build
Yeah.
out the two sides for each of them.
Yeah, also because I feel like right now my team under my Yukon DD is taking off slowly, you know?
Yeah,
So I kind of
that's
feel like
exactly
from
what you want to do. So as that continues to grow, you're trying to catch it with your new account now. And if for any reason it slows down, then you just create a new system. So sometimes it's one and one, one and one. Sometimes it's two and one, two and one. Sometimes it's three and one, depending on how much volume is, what is the discrepancy. And after you hit 682, you'll get a monthly report that you can go into your back office and download it, and it will show you the volume coming from different people. So then you can calculate the percentage of where the sales are coming from.
okay.
Until 682, you can't see that stuff. So you're having to kind of track things manually.
Thank you so
Cool.
much.
Yeah, you're
Amazing.
very welcome. Awesome.